He's with Jostem's. Jostem's provides our caps and gowns and provide for lots of senior swag. And they have, each of you will get a packet. If you're not here tonight and unable to get it, please come by the school or have someone come get it for you. In the counselor's office, Ms. Rice? Yes, okay. If you don't get it tonight, please do that then. And because the 16th, I believe, is the deadline of October for orders to start. You can also do orders online, but you need to get a packet to be able to decide where you want and what you want. There's some really good bargains too. And I will introduce you to Angela Pena. Angela is with Inspire Ed. They have come to us the last 3 years and talking about FAFSA, and this is something very important for you. You need to know about it. You need to know how to fill it out. You need to know the questions to ask. Those of you who are online, when you get to that point, we do have a bar at the bottom, and you can answer. We have someone to answer those questions while Angela is talking. It's very, very important that you fill out that FAFSA form. And parents, I'm telling you as a parent, please remember your password, because I always forgot it. I would write it down and put it somewhere. And I have 4 kids who went through 4 years of college as well as graduate school, and I forgot it half the time. So write down that number and put it somewhere that you know where to put it, and or write it in ink on your arm and don't wash it or something for the next year. But remember that password. It's very important. All right, I'm going to shut up and give Mike the microphone.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Holt. And I'm going to piggyback on that. I've had 3 boys, 2 already go through college, and one he's a senior this year, just like y'all are. He's about to. I made folders with passwords, and on my phone, on the computer, because not only do you need it for this year, next year when you file FAFSA, you're going to need it. Next year, the next year, and the next year, and it just keeps it going on. All right, that's all I got for FAFSA. I'll let the expert give y'all all the information on that. Again, I'm with Jostem's. We take care of your cap and gowns, your announcements, senior T-shirts, all the stuff you need to announce that you're graduating. That's what we're taking care of. Go ahead. All right, so back up one real fast. Okay, there's my email. So I would love at the end of my presentation to go, okay, we got it. We don't have any questions. We're good to go. We're good. I know that's probably not reality. So people, parents online, take a screenshot of that. Y'all can write it on your folder. Our office email is on the folder, but this is my personal email. So please, when we're done here, tomorrow you're looking through this, if you got any questions, please email me. I'll be more than happy to answer any questions y'all got, okay? Mike.humphreys@jostems.com. All right, we can go to the next one, and you can mute the sound too. That's all right. Okay, so basically, I want to go over what an announcement is. We had a lot of confusion this year with COVID for some reason about what actually announcement is, because graduations got changed. Y'all know, if you had a senior or had friends, graduation was on this day, then it was on this day. Nope, we backed it up to this day. No, now we got to move it to this day. Oh, we got a venue here. So it was crazy last year. Hopefully, keep our fingers crossed that doesn't happen this year. Okay, let's pray for just a smooth senior year. But what the announcement is really what it says. It is an announcement. You are announcing that your student is graduating. You're not inviting them. This is not an invitation to graduation. You're actually announcing that you're graduating. This is what you're going to send out to all your family, all your friends, letting them know that your student's graduating so they can prepare. If something happens and we get into a situation like we did last year, all we do, we print up inserts, we put it in, because the announcement's going to have the graduation date. When Newman sets the graduation date, that's what will be printed in here. If it changes, we'll print out an insert. We can put insert. That way they know exactly when the graduation date is, okay? But again, this is not inviting them to graduation. This is just announcing you're graduating. Now, let me go over real fast what you've got in your packet. And parents, everybody online, when you get your packet, this will make a whole lot more sense to you. First thing I want to draw your attention to is the orange sheet. This is what we call our warrior pack, and basically it is a one-stop shop. Everything you need to graduation, everything you need to celebrate graduation is in this packet. It's got the announcements. It's got photo cards, and the photo cards can be used different ways. They can be used, you can go on to the next slide. Are we working now? That's good. You can just leave right there. The photo cards, these are what you're going to design online, and you're going to input your students' photos, whether you want to use all senior pictures that you've taken, or whether you want to use elementary school, kindergarten, and as they grow up, you can use as many pictures you want. We've got designs that will do one picture. We got designs that will do 5 pictures. So you'll go online and design those online and create those with your own pictures, okay? All the accessories that go with the photo cards, the announcements, the name cards. You can go to the next slide. Return address labels, thank you notes, tissue inserts. You can go to the next slide. Thank you note. All right, very important on thank you notes. Students, I'm speaking to y'all now. When you send out announcements, basically what you're wanting something, you're wanting a graduation gift in return. Whether it's money, whether it's something for your dorm room, that's a lot of the reason what the announcement is for. So somebody can help you celebrate your graduation. When they do that, it's proper to send a thank you note, and it's proper to send a handwritten thank you note. I know in these days and times when you've got Twitter and you've got Facebook and you've got whatever else the kids are using these days, it's real easy just to hit a button to say thank you. Now, these need to be handwritten out, saying thank you, I appreciate the gift, and it's just a nice way of doing it, especially if you're sending it to grandma and grandpa. They don't want to email. They want to see you write something out to them. Okay, go ahead, next one. But those are included in the packet. What we got here? Oh, okay. Here's so all y'all can see online. These are the example of the photo cards. And when I say you're going to design it, I mean you're really going to design it. You're going to pick the picture that's good and go on it. All the text you see is also going to be inputted by you. So if you want to use these for a party invite, some people will use these as what I'm going to be doing in the future. So, ma'am, where are you going to school next year? Huh? Wait. At a girl, Texas Tech, my fellow Red Raiders. All right, so you might want to go. I will be attending Texas Tech, majoring in medicine. Okay, so that way, whoever you're sending these photo cards to, they know, hey, you know what? I bet you I can buy this for her. Maybe this is what she'll need in college. Or they just want to just tell you congratulations. So these photo cards can be used in a lot of different ways. They don't have to be used as announcements, but that's one way you can do it. All right, go to the next one. All right, so again, all that's included in the mascot pack. Go ahead, next slide. Next slide. Now, also included is the T-shirts that you can order, the black and the navy T-shirt. Next slide. The Sherpa, which was very popular last year. You can get that. Next, the hoodie. Go ahead with the next one. And the black. Those are your choices. If you order the Warrior Pack, you get to choose which one of those you want. And they go from any sizes from small all the way to 3X. Okay. Go ahead. Next slide. You're also going to get a keychain. Next slide. Your tassel. Now, this is not the tassel you graduate with. When you order your cap and gown, that comes with everything you need to graduate to walk across the stage. So you do not need to order an extra tassel for graduation. But if you want one for a shadow box, hang in your car, then you can also order an extra tassel. Go ahead, next one. You can also order sweatpants. We've got the gray performance sweatpants. Go ahead. We got the black tapered sweatpants. Next one. And then we've got the tapered jogger pants. So those are also available. They're not included in the package, but you can add those to it. Go ahead, next slide. Now, cap and gown, probably most important thing and what everybody wants to know about. We need your height and weight because we're going to make your cap and gown to fit your height and weight. So because a cap and gown for a 6'5", 150-pound is different than a 5'5", 200-pound. Okay, so we need to make sure we have height and weight. Ladies, if you're going to wear heels at graduation, do not add the inches on your heels to your height. Okay, just give us normal height and weight. And another thing I always say about cap and gown, it is not a fashion statement. Okay, it will fit you big. And if it's everybody big, whether you're 5 foot or whether you're 6'10", it fits you big. The cap and gown is going to hit anywhere from the bottom of the calf to the upper part of the calf. It does not go all the way to the ground. So we always get a lot of questions. Oh, my gown's too short. Nope, your gown is just perfect. And you might think you look funny in it, but when you're all standing together at graduation, it looks awesome. Okay, so just a heads up on the cap and gown. Make sure we have your height and weight. Again, all that's already included in the mascot pack for you. Like I said, one-stop shop. Go ahead. Now, also in your packet, there's another order form. If you're not interested in the Warrior pack, the blue packages, those are announcement packages that have the announcements, the photo cards, the return address labels, the name card, all that is in the blue packets. The red packets are the cap and gown packet. The blue packets do not have a cap and gown, so you would have to add a cap and gown to it if you choose one of the blue packages. Or down at the bottom, you can just create your own package in section 4. Okay, so and now there's going to be different ways that you can order this. On the packet, you see there's a green sticker that says you can either come to our office. Our office is right down Randall Mill, about 5 minutes from here. You're welcome to come into our office Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. You can order online. Everything that's in the packet is the exact same thing that's online. Same packages, same prices, everything's the same. So if you choose to order online, that's completely up to you. Here's the advantage of, or I'm going to be coming back on the 16th, the morning of the 16th to collect orders. So come to our office, order online, order here at school. Okay. Here's the advantage of ordering either at school or in our office. If you order one of the packages, all you have to do is put a first payment of $100 down. After that, you just make payments however you need to. The rest will be delivered in January. Because when you order in our office or here at school, if you order the mascot pack, I'm going to give you T-shirts and I'm going to give you your hoodie at that time. If you come to the office, you're going to get your T-shirts and hoodie at that time. If you order online, it'll take about a week or so before we can get those items to you, but you will get those early also. Though if you do decide to order online, you do have to pay in full, or there's a credit card payment plan that you can choose that divides the payments up into 3 payments for you. You can still do that either in our office or at school, but you can do a deposit and then just make payments however you need to before we deliver everything else. Cap and gown will be delivered late January, early February. So if we do get crazy again in the spring, you've already got everything, you're ready to graduate. Okay, that's the one reason why we're doing this so early, is because if we do have another episode like last year, there were people that did not get their cap and gowns because they ordered too late and that we couldn't get them made because when everything shut down, our plants shut down also. So we couldn't get cap and gowns made. We try and get everything back to you early so we don't have to worry about that. Also, by doing this early, we're trying to save you some money. If you order either before or on the 16th, it's a group order. We push the button, that group goes. After that, everything becomes an individual order. And as you know, if you order individually, there's going to be added cost to it. Okay. So we want to get it turned in. That doesn't mean it has to be paid in full by the 16th. Just need to be ordered by the 16th. Okay. Last thing, if you haven't ordered your class ring, no, you're good right there. If you haven't ordered your class ring, you can also do that at jostems.com. Design your ring online, and then once you get it to the end of the design process, it's going to ask you 2 questions: either buy in school or buy online. I'm going to ask you to choose to buy in school. Then it's going to let you print the order form off, and it's going to look just like this. Bring that to us, whether you here at school or come to the office. Print that to us. We'll size your finger, and we can get your ring ordered. And it's still just that one deposit of $100 covers both your senior order and your ring. If you do decide to order it online, again, that's fine. You'll need to know your ring size. And again, you have to either pay in full or there's that credit card payment plan you can choose. Okay, that's everything. What's the next slide? Let me see if I've forgotten anything here. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, okay, so the Jostems J-Pay, that's the credit card payment plan where whatever your total bill is, it'll divide it up into 3 monthly payments and automatically take it off your credit card. Cash, check, or money order, credit card for your deposit. And then after that, we will send you an invoice through your email, And on that invoice, we'll have a link that will click and it'll take you right to your personal payment page. And then you can just make payments however is easiest for you. All right, next slide. Next slide. Okay, I think that's it. So any questions for the people that are here? Like I said, I know you're getting a lot of information thrown at you right now. You've got my email. I'll be more than happy to answer any questions you got tomorrow or through the week. But I appreciate y'all letting me take up a little bit of your time because I know the important thing is coming up with the FAFSA. Yeah, get it done. Yes, ma'am. That 277, that's the Warrior package. That's everything in that black box. Is everything in that black box. And yes, that does include the cap and gown. Yes, ma'am. Yeah, that's included in the Warrior package. Okay. All right. Again, thank you, parents. Thank you, students, for letting me take up a little bit of your time. And again, if you got any questions, please let me know. All right. Thank y'all. Oh, I'm sorry. One more thing. In everybody's packet, you got an example of the announcement of what your announcement looks like. Okay. So if you order the official school announcements, this is what you will be getting. Okay. And then inside of it, that will have all the graduation information. All right. Okay. Thank y'all.
Scholarships on college campuses, they may align those based on your SAT scores. So that's one of the things. And those of you who have not taken your SAT yet or are starting that process, when you start that process, have a plan in mind. Don't just take the test just to take the test. Have a plan in mind. If you know what schools you want to attend, you would need to go out on that school's website and determine what is their entry score for getting into that school. And you outline all those scores, and that's the process. That's your goal. When you begin that process, that is the goal that you want to reach, is reaching that number. And when you take the test, whether it's an SAT or ACT test, each one of those tests have different dollars attached to it, and each one scores. And all colleges take both of those tests. Some people do better on the SAT and some do better on the ACT. It doesn't matter. Take them and determine which one you do best on, and that's the test that you should take to compete for any merit scholarship dollars that may be out there, okay? So you should take both of them, so that gives you an idea of where you are, and once you get your scores, you identify those areas where you may have fallen short. And those are areas that you work on. And when you take the test again, you want to improve and see your improvement in those areas. So those are dollars you want to, how you want to get those dollars. So when you think about financial aid and the FAFSA, as Todd Williams said earlier, October 1st, it opens up. And you've always heard that saying that the early bird gets the worm. The faster you fill out the FAFSA, the better off you place yourself in getting the dollars from the universities. Because if you wait too late to do it, you can miss the deadline. So I want to encourage you to go on whatever schools that you want to attend, to go online and identify their deadline date for getting in your FAFSA. Once you have identified that, you want to make sure that you've completed it before then. You're going to utilize your 2019 income tax return, Schedule 1. You're going to utilize that. If you take the Schedule 1, all the information that you need on that Schedule 1 is what you're going to need to fill out. When we think of financial aid, we think about grants, you think about scholarships, institutional scholarships and grants, as well as loans and work study. So when you want to go to school on these type of aids, you have to fill out the FAFSA in order to get that aid. Go to the next one. So there are 4 different ways that people pay for college. You can pay with income. Some people save money and have inheritance, or they may have a 526 or different types of different types of finances that they can pay for it out of their income, financial aid, savings, or scholarships. Next slide, please. So we have different types of scholarships. Who can tell me what a merit scholarship is? Students, who can tell me? Tell me what a merit scholarship is. Based on your academic achievements. Awesome. What about a performance scholarship? Y'all gonna say something? Huh? Say it again. On a performance scholarship? Performance scholarships, merit scholarships are gonna be based on grades. Performance scholarships are those for choir, band, arts, and things of that nature. Most of these scholarships are obtained through when you audition. My son went to college in Nebraska Wesleyan on a theater scholarship. Won a whole lot of money, but it was a scholarship. They combined with everything else. So you had to audition in order to receive that scholarship. Need-based scholarships are those scholarships based on your financial needs. Then you have athletic scholarships, and everybody know what that is, right? Football, basketball, and then all the other. So I can be honest with you, if you're not achieving academically and you're not performing, you don't need a need-based and you don't have you're a great athlete, you're gonna live in the other. The other is where you're gonna live, and that's where you get most of your money is out of the other. Those other categories, next slide, please. Other categories, you're looking at scholarships from churches, from organizations, from different things. There are scholarships out there. If you have a disability, there is money to receive from having a disability. My sister had a spine issue and she got a scholarship for something in her spine. I'm like, are you serious? So whatever their scholarship monies, these are some websites you can go to begin to look at those. Scholarships.com, webfast.com. These are scholarship places you can just find scholarship monies. For every $1,000 that you may apply for, you're gonna need to possibly apply for at least 10 to 15 scholarships for every $1,000. There are students that I know that have gone to school free by just doing this, applying for scholarships, every scholarship. It can be done. I know a young lady who got $100,000 just in scholarships, but you know what she did? She applied for over 300 scholarships. So she had to take her time and actually apply for the scholarships. When I do my prepare for college class, preparedness for college, we talk about how to process this. How do you do this? How many are familiar with Excel? Y'all do Excel well. You got to get you a bunch of Excel spreadsheets, put them down, put the deadline dates and things of that nature, writing essays and things of that nature. So next slide. So when you look at financial aid, you have federal aid, institutional aid, and state aid. When you look at the federal aid, you have loans, grants, and work study. And then at the institutional, you have grants. And then at the state, you also have loans, grants, and work study. Next slide, please. When you look at, go ahead and go back to the last one, I'm sorry. When you look at loans, you have subsidized loans or unsubsidized loans. Subsidized loans are those loans that you get based on your financial situation. Those loans, the federal government will pay the interest for you. You still have to pay the loan back, but the federal government pays the interest. Now, unsubsidized loans are those loans that you get, but you have to pay back the interest. What I ask that you do, you shop those loans. Don't just take any of them. Because what happens at the end of the day, some of those loans, you have to pay that back before you even graduate. You have to pay the interest. You have to pay the interest up front before you graduate. So you want to make sure you read the fine print of those to ensure that you don't get those type loans that you can wait until after you graduate. Then you have grants. Grants is free money. If you want to be a teacher, you can get a grant to go to school. The only thing you have to do is fulfill that grant at the end of your graduation. So there are grants for different majors. And how do you fulfill that grant? For teacher grants, what you have to do is you have to work in a social economic disadvantaged area for a certain amount of time, teaching that school for a certain amount of time. But guess what? You got the degree with a grant. Now, there are some grants that if you don't make the academic standards, you may have to pay those grants back. So you want to make sure everything that you get, we're going to talk about it a little later, everything that you get, you need to research what it is at the end of the day. All money ain't good money. Just because they give it to you don't mean it's good, because it comes with a price. So you need to research and find out what that price is before you accept that money. So you have grants that come from the federal government, you have grants that come from the institution, you have grants that come from the state. Then you have work study. How many know what work study is? How many parents in here know what work study is? Hello. I went to school on work study. And work study is another form of financial aid. And what it is you work to pay your tuition. They give you a job somewhere on the campus and you work and you pay your tuition. So, and that's another part of getting federal aid. My son went to school, he had work study. I paid his tuition, but that $200 he got every month in work study, that was his living money. I ain't seen him on money. That's it, bro. You do make it work for you. Make it work for you. Because, you know, going to school is expensive. So anyway, so work study. Next slide, please. Here's some myths about financial aid. My family makes too much money to qualify for aid. Apply for it anyway. In the state of Texas, anyway, you have to apply for FAFSA. Every student has to apply for FAFSA unless your parents apply for a waiver not to do it. Every family has to apply for FAFSA. And Texas kind of ranks high in all the other states of the percentage of our families that apply. Also, another myth, financial aid applications take too long to complete. It does not anymore. FAFSA years ago, it was a nightmare. It took me a long time. You get started on it and be like, oh, no, I can't do this no more, I'm done. And then it took a while, but now the process is quick. All you need is your Schedule 1. That's all you need. And everything else is gonna come through, it'll walk you through it. So it's an easier process, and you can even do it on your phone. They have an app. You can either do it on your phone. So we'll talk more about that a little later. Next slide, please. The information you need for FAFSA, you're gonna need a valid Social Security number, a US citizen that's eligible residence, visa, one of these visas, high school diploma, a GED, be accepted for enrollment in a degree or certificate program, registered for the selective service, 18 to 25, and no drug conviction. Next slide, please. So you heard Todd talk about your FAFSA ID. Parents, this is what you have to go out and get, is your FAFSA ID. You go out to this website. This ID will follow you for the rest of the 4 years your student is in school. If you have another student coming up, that's the same ID you'll use for all your students. Now, each one of your students will have their ID also. Be aware of college priority dates. Remember, I said that earlier. Whatever school you want to attend, you need to go out on the website and you need to review what those priority dates are. When are those dates? And you need to get an Excel spreadsheet, and you need to write those dates down so that that's what's going to be your guide as you go through this process. Let me give you some other things you need to put on that spreadsheet. You need to put down your priority dates. You need to put down the dates dates when applications are supposed to be done. You need to put down tuition, how much tuition is going to cost. You need to put down your room and board. Tuition and room and board are two different things, okay? So all that goes into your cost of college. You need to put down travel. You need to go on and research how much it's going to cost me to get there, because that goes into how much it costs to go to school, okay? You need to put down spending money, what it would take. You know what your habits are, okay? And one thing I always say, parents, you know your student. You know your child. DNA don't lie. You know them. Okay? And what happens is they want to do A, and you know they can't do A because they don't, and you need to encourage them to do B. You need to follow through on that process. Because I have my youngest son, he wanted to go somewhere to go to 4-year college. I say, you ain't taking my money nowhere. You're going right down to TCC for the first 2 years, and that's the best thing he ever did. Because his maturity level wasn't at the place where I would send him somewhere because my money was already funny, and you ain't gonna waste my money. You see what I'm saying? So you know your child. So this process works for junior college too. I mean, for TCC too, whatever junior college. So know your student, and I'm just being real. We all want our kids to have the best, but you know your student, and you don't want to set them up for failure. So walk them through that process, okay? You have to, where am I? Never pay to get your FAFSA filled. This is it is free. There are services out there that would charge you to fill this out for you. And guess what? You got to give them all the information. You still got to look for it. So you might as well fill it out yourself, right? So you can do it. And you do not have to complete the FAFSA all at once. Once you make sure, this is one thing I always say, make sure you save after each time you go do something, complete something, save it. Because you can always go back in and pick up where you left off. The RS data retrieval process for quicker completion. If you have received a refund and you don't owe, Uncle Sam, I never could use the retrieval process because I always owe. So if you don't owe, you can use that process and all that information will automatically carry over to the FAFSA form for you. And then if you're a dependent per FAFSA, you must provide parental information. The cutoff year for dependency for this year, correct me counselors if I'm wrong, is 1996, right? If you were born 1996 and earlier, you don't have to use it. It's a date point. But if you were born after that, no matter how old you are, you have to use your parents' information. If you don't live in the house with your parents, you still have to use your parents' information. You may be an emancipated minor. You have to use your parents' information. Well, no, you don't if you're emancipated. But if you're not, you have to use your parents' information. Okay, next slide, please. Schedule 1, update mobile app being released. They're going to be releasing the updated mobile app. And what they fixed the system where you're taking the Schedule 1, which is that first section, I think it's section number 5 of your income tax form. I think it's section number 5. All the information you're going to put there is right there. So they're trying to fine tune it where you don't have to go search for it. Because you know, when you fill your income tax, if you have investments, you have to put that in. If you have this, you have to put that. You have land, you have to put all that stuff in. It's all in that section. That's all information. Because what they want to know is how much money are you bringing to the house? How many assets? What are your assets? What do you have? And that determines what you're going to be getting. Next slide, please. Can the student choose to report 2020 information if the family financial situation has changed? We have to, that's a typo, changed since 2019 taxes were filled. No, you have to use 2019 information. COVID has brought along some very different situations now for families, but you still have to use 2019 information. You can't use the 2020. Next slide, please. These are some benefits of utilizing the data retrieval. Easiest way to provide tax returns and ensure that the FAFSA has accurate tax information and may eliminate the need to provide additional documentation to your college. Let me explain something to you. You can go ahead and submit your FAFSA, and if something changes, you can always at any time go back in and make those corrections. And this information will automatically go back out to the universities, okay? So you can make those changes at any time. Next slide, please. I want to tell you this. This is a caveat. You have to complete FAFSA every year. Say, for instance, your son or daughter decides, well, I'm not going this year. I'm going to take a break. You got to complete the FAFSA every year once you get started, as long as they're in school. Story. I did it the first year. He didn't get a dime, so I had to pay for everything, right? So I said, I'm not doing it the next year. Well, the third year, I lost my job and my finances were cut considerably. So he needed to get a loan to finish off his last 2 years. I had to go back and fill out the FAFSA for 2013, 2020, and 2014. So you have to fill it out every year, okay? Because that's the only way they can get financial aid. So they had to see the history. So I had to go back and fill it out for all those prior years that I didn't complete it. So once these are 7 steps of the FAFSA, you're going to have the students' demographics, the school selection. You can select up to, I think, 10 colleges to send it to, dependency status, parent demographics, financial information, sign and submit it, and then you would get your confirmation. There are some questions about households. FAFSA is based on the household. There's questions about if mom and dad are separated or divorced. It's based on the household. So wherever the student lives and spends his time is whose income you have to utilize. So what if there's a stepdad in the house and he's not my child's daddy? His information has to go on the FAFSA. It's the household. Now, that's the law. That's what's supposed to happen. But his information has to go on the deal. All right, next slide. This is how it looks, the process. And you get the student signature, go through that process, dependency, fill in all of that. Next slide. And the last page is where you sign, where the parents fill in and sign using their FAFSA ID number. You sign it with the student's FAFSA ID number and the parent FAFSA ID number. Both of those numbers go on it, okay? There was one semester, I was in grad school. I had a son in the senior year in college and a son in the freshman year in college. I had to do 3 FAFSAs in one year. So that's important to make sure that you fill it out. Next slide. Next slide. After submitting your FAFSA online, you will receive a confirmation page. That page states that this is, we have received it. Once you get your confirmation page, in about a week, you're gonna get your student aid report. Your student aid report is a summary of all the information that you put in the FAFSA. And on this report, they're gonna tell you how much you should contribute to your student's education. You'll laugh. You're gonna like, well, if you find it in my household, let me know where you get that type of money. But look at it, but continue to wait for the financial aid. You will get something. I guarantee you, you will get something. It may not be what you want, but you'll get something, okay? As far as financial aid. Next slide, please. So this is the process. You fill out your, you get your SAW report. Your SAW report is then sent to the university, sent to the federal government. The federal government takes that information and sends it to the university. The university, when we talk about deadline dates, this process starts right after the deadline date. So if you already have your stuff in October 2nd, October 3rd, guess where you are? You're in front of the line, right? So the early bird gets the worm. When they start passing out dollars, this is the information they're gonna be looking for to start passing those out. And what happens is you get an award letter. For every university that you send your FAFSA to, they're gonna send you an award letter. On this award letter, it states what dollars that you're gonna get to go to that school. They take the total cost of attending the university. The costs that they take in consideration are, they take tuition, room and board, books, transportation, and any other expenses it takes to go to school. All that is encompassing on what it takes to go to school. They take all that in consideration. And when they pass out your monies, they may give you a grant, they may give you loans, subsidized or unsubsidized, they may give you scholarships. It depends. Every university is going to see your need based different. So you may get 5 award letters back. Each one is going to be different, or they may be the same. So that's when you take it and you shop the award letter by the school. Ladies and gentlemen, a degree is a degree is a degree is a degree. No matter where you get it from, it is a what? A degree. So I tell people, why pay 6 figures? If I want to be a teacher, why would I go to Baylor and pay 6 figures for a college degree to come out to get paid $50,000 a year? Is that a good return on my investment? Just because I want to go to Baylor and I just want to be a teacher? That's not a good return on my investment. At the end of the day, you got to, if you have to go to school on loans, you got to pay them bud babies back, and you need to be making the money to be able to pay them back. So if you paid for a 6-figure education and 60,000 of that was on a loans, and you're only making 50, hello. So those are things you think about when you're going through that process of trying to decide where you want to go to school. Because at the end of the day, a degree is a degree is a degree. I like polo. I love wearing Ralph Lauren. But you will never see me pay $90 for one. I'll wait till Dillard sell them on January 1. I go buy up as many as I want for 75% off. Hello. And nobody ever knew. I go to Marshall's, $39.99, and get as many as I want. You see what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, it's what? A polo. A pony is still on there. Next slide, please. Okay, common FAFSA mistakes, not completing the FAFSA every year. I told you about that earlier. Using commas in numeric fields, make sure you don't use commas. Using incorrect social, confusing parent and student income, forgetting to list schools and not e-signing and not completing by the university's priority deadline. If you don't complete it by their deadline, you're gonna get all the leftovers. Because what happens is, if you miss the deadline, they're not gonna look at your FAFSA until everybody has accepted what they're gonna accept. Once everybody's accepted all their money, because you have a deadline to accept it also, then whatever's left over is what they pass out to everybody else who missed the deadline. So that's why it's important that you hit the deadline, okay? Next slide, please. 5 things to do after filling out the FAFSA: review your SAR, review your estimated financial contribution, that's the EFC, make any corrections that are needed, double check with your schools, and be prepared if you are selected for verification. When you fill out the FAFSA, do not use that email address that you never go look at. How many of you got more than one email address, but you send all the junk stuff to? Right. Don't use that email address. Use the email address that you always will go to, that you read daily. Because when they ask for this information, they only give you so much time to get that information back to them. So you need to make sure that you read that information. Next slide, please. For more information, 7 steps of FAFSA video. Inspire Ed, write this down, inspiredoutreach.org. Inspiredoutreach.org. You can go on our website. This presentation is there. And you can get more information. You can contact us and we will walk you through anything that you need walking through. Answer any questions you may have. Utilize FAFSA.gov when you fill out this form, studentaid.gov, collegefortexas.com, and yourgocenter.com. Go to yourgocenter.com. Next slide, please. This is the FAFSA mobile app. It's being changed. These are the steps. You can fill it out on the mobile app just like you can on the computer. Next slide. This is all the information. You can go and make any corrections or whatever the case may be. You can track your progress as it goes through the process, where it is. Next slide, please. Now, those of us that are undocumented students, we have what we call TASFA. TASFA, these are the things you have to do to be eligible for TASFA. You have to graduate from a private or public high school or receive a GED. In Texas, you have to reside in Texas for at least 3 years leading up to your high school graduation, a GED. You have to reside in Texas for 12 consecutive months right before the semester the student enrolls in college. And you have to provide the notarized affidavit of an SB 1528. And one thing they don't have on here is also you need to call the university to ensure that they receive the TASFA, that they accept TASFA, okay? Next slide. TASFA checklist, tax transcript, selective service card, you still have to register, affidavit, verifications forms if the school requires them, and all these need to be filled out and copies need to be made of each item you're applying to more than one school. And after all these forms are sent in, it is the job to check with the school. These are forms you have to fill. It's not a computer's process. These are forms you have to fill out, and you have to follow through on that. Parents, this is the last year that you can call and advocate for your child. Now, the university is going to receive a phone call from a parent. They don't want to hear from you no more. Okay? So don't be calling the school. My son, no, baby. Your son gonna need to call. They ain't gonna talk to you. And don't call the teachers talking about, well, he made this grade. No, they ain't gonna talk to you. Even though you're paying the tuition, you don't matter. Now, there is a form that you can make your child sign that they can give you any financial information that you may need, okay? Because my son had to, if I'm gonna pay, I need to know what's going on. So he filled that form out and gave me my permission. But I couldn't talk to no teachers. I couldn't go advocate, ask, can he do this? No. They want to hear from your student. They are adults now. They got to go, they're moving into that place of adulting and have to begin to make decisions for themselves. So this is just, I'm a family engagement specialist in Arlington ISD, and this is what I tell my senior parents all the time. This year, stop making decisions for them. Allow them to make decisions and coach them on how to make a decision. Because when they go away to college, they got to be able to do critical thinking skills for themselves because they can't call you all the time. Okay? So, and when they make bad decisions now, they can make them in your home and you're there to walk them through the consequences. So when they go off on their own, they can process through that and be able to make healthy decisions. All right, I didn't ask for that. I'm sorry, dude. Next slide. How to apply for TASFA, go to the college, for all Texans. Next slide. And any questions, that's it. I hope it was beneficial and helpful to you. If I'll be here afterwards for a few minutes. If you have any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer them. And thank you guys for allowing me to be here.
Did you learn anything? A lot. I remember I have 4 kids, all went to college, and they all had IDs, and I had an ID. And every year, now you have 4 kids, 4 years each, you can do the multiplication. I would forget what my ID number was. And I had to go through all of the rigmarole to try to find it out. So I always say put it in your phone where it can't be seen by anybody else, and keep it with you or tattoo it to your arm, one or the other. Thank you, folks, for being here. Thank you, those of you who are online. Have a great rest of your evening.